Beijing. An 8-page essay pumped through social media and Chinese state newspapers in recent days extolled the virtues of President 11 Jipig. Among his achievements, in the Chinese language version, was that he had turned the South China Sea arbitration at The Hague, which found against China, into waste paper. It was an achievement that state news agencies in US lengthy him, entitled 11 and His Era, did not include in the English version for foreign consumption. In the past month, 11 first asserted his unchallenged authority within the communist state at the 5-yearly Chinese National Congress, having his 11 Jipig thought, socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era written into the country's constitution. Then he pulled off a diplomatic win, placating ASEAN countries over China's military presence in disputed South China Sea waters, while avoiding a direct rebuke from visiting US President Donald Trump. In the wake of these successes, the messaging to a nationalistic domestic audience had a triumphant tone. 11 was said to have an affinity with the People's Liberation Army, which he has strengthened as Commander-in-Chief. He has a photo of himself in military uniform on his desk. According to 11, the only one who can prevent war is the one ready for war. As Australia resets its foreign policy in a white paper to be released this week, these issues will be front of mind. What are China's ambitions on the global stage and how will that reshape the world order? It is early days in 11 Jipig's new era, but its shape, within China's domestic politics at least, is emerging. The Congress set the tone for a more strident emphasis on the Communist Party. China would not follow the Western path, and was now prepared to offer a new economic model to developing countries. Party officials were warned not to believe in sorcery, gods or Western-style separation of powers and multi-party systems, as if the three were equivalent. The elevation of theorist Wang Huning, Xi's speechwriter, to the Politburo Standing Committee last month, sent China watchers scrambling to read his early essays, which described the Chinese neo-authoritarianism. Wang insisted Western democracy could not be grafted onto Chinese politics, at least partly because of the habit of far-flung provinces to do as they will and the explosion of local corruption after Deng Xiaoping's get-rich push. Chinese reform had to be led by the party to maintain stability. Wang now guides China's propaganda work, crafting the image of powerful leader. 11. For Western observers, the most palatable example of this authoritarianism at work is the quick-time environmental progress of the world's biggest coal user. China is on track to meet its Paris Agreement goals, it revealed at the Bonn Climate Change Conference, and the country's envoy reported the world's biggest national carbon trading scheme would begin this year. Environment groups believe China will exceed these goals, and its carbon emissions would peak earlier than 2030. Unencumbered by climate change dealists and domestic political scraps, China's environment inspection teams just get on with the job, punishing 1,000 local officials who failed to get Xi's green message and shutting carbon belching factories, even if it slows economic growth.